Glasses can help us see the world more clearly, but they also make it harder to photograph. Let's talk about it on today's episode of
Ask David Bergman.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Here I am, as always, answering your photography questions right here on Adorama TV. Let's get right into today's question, which was sent in by Don M. As someone who wears glasses, do you recommend leaving them on when you shoot and risk getting smudges from the viewfinder's rubber cup? Or do you take them off and adjust the diopter to your eye? Thanks, Don. It's a great question, and I'm afraid that you've opened a bit of a Pandora's box here. Glasses are incredibly helpful for those of us who don't have perfect vision, but they do introduce some challenges when you're using a camera. Now I'm going to go through some of the common problems that come up when you're photographing while wearing glasses, and I'm going to offer up a few techniques that might help. First off, Don mentioned adjusting the diopter. What the heck is that thing anyway? Well, most cameras with a viewfinder have a small dial or a slider next to the eyepiece. That's the diopter adjustment. It lets you fine-tune the sharpness of what you see in the viewfinder. Now, it doesn't affect your actual photos, it just helps your eye see the display more clearly. Now, the diopter can be helpful if your vision issues are minor and you don't wear glasses full-time. If your prescription is light enough that you can usually get by without glasses, you might be able to adjust the diopter and shoot comfortably. I do recommend that you set the diopter using the same vision you'll be shooting with. If you're keeping your glasses on, leave them on when you're adjusting it. If you're shooting without them, take them off before you dial it in. Now, to set the diopter, just look through the viewfinder at the text, any text you can find on the screen, like the meter or settings on a DSLR, or a full menu screen if you're using a mirrorless camera. Then just adjust the diopter until the words look sharp. That's much easier than trying to hold focus on a subject while adjusting the dial at the same time. Now, some diopters have a locking position once you've got it set where you want. On ones that don't, I like to put a small piece of gaffer's tape over the dial so it doesn't accidentally get bumped. That has saved me more than once from wondering why everything suddenly looks blurry. Now, I wear glasses full time, so trying to shoot without them on, it's not going to happen. I'm nearsighted, which means that I can't see anything clearly beyond a few feet away. I need to be able to see my subject, walk around, interact with people, check the back of the camera, and just navigate in the real world, so I have to wear my glasses the entire time I'm shooting. By the way, here's an interesting little tidbit. Even though the electronic viewfinder is really close to your eye, your brain doesn't treat it like a close-up screen. The optics inside the EVF actually project the image to appear as if it's far away, kind of like a tiny movie theater right in front of you. So your eyes still need to focus at a distance. That's why people like me who are nearsighted still need to wear glasses to see the EVF clearly, despite having excellent close-up vision. So now let's go through the challenges photographers deal with when shooting with glasses on, and I'm going to give you some solutions that might actually help. The first issue is smudging, and it happens to all of us. Depending on the shape of your frames or how your camera fits against your face, it's easy to press the viewfinder's eye cup right into your lenses and leave all kinds of streaks behind. Now, you can buy specific lenses that are going to help a bit, and I'll talk about those in a minute, but an obvious and simple solution is just to carry a microfiber cloth and clean your lenses when needed. You might already have one of those on you for your cameras. Now, of course, you should make sure that it's clean to avoid scratching the lenses, and I hear, rumor has it, that some photographers have been known to use their shirt for a quick cleanup in a pinch. Of course, I don't officially recommend you do that, but, well, you know. Now, fogging is another issue that can wreak havoc on your glasses and on your computer gear, especially when you go from cold air-conditioned space into hot, humid weather. Now, if you can, it certainly helps to get outside a little bit before your shoot so your glasses and lenses can naturally acclimate to the heat and the humidity. That way you're not instantly fighting fog the moment you put the camera to your eye. Some people also use daily anti-fog wipes, and there are a bunch of brands out there. Some work better than others, and they may not last all day, but if fog is something you deal with regularly, it's worth trying a few to see if they work for you. Now, of course, shooting in the rain adds its own set of complications. Now, only water on the camera lens's front element is going to affect the actual image, but if your glasses get wet, it just makes it tough to see what you're doing. A good solution is just to wear a baseball cap or anything with a big brim on it that covers your eyes and glasses. That's going to go a long way towards keeping your glasses and your viewfinder clear. And yes, there are things you should look for when you're buying your next pair of glasses. They make lenses with anti-reflective, anti-smudge, and hydrophobic coatings. That's going to help you resist fingerprints, minimize flare, reduce the chance of fogging, and will wipe clean much more easily. I do recommend that you skip the blue light filtering on your lenses. That might be helpful for reducing eye strain when you're on your computer for long periods of time, but they can subtly shift your color perception and might make it difficult to get an accurate white balance. I also would stay away from transition lenses. Those are the kind that darken when you go outside. When you're shooting, you really don't want your vision constantly changing. Even once they're fully darkened, you're still seeing the world through tinted or polarized lenses, and that can affect your perception of light and color. I never shoot with sunglasses on for that exact reason, and transitions are basically the same thing. Hey, a quick side note, if you enjoy these videos and you've ever picked up some helpful information from me, I do appreciate you hitting that like button. Adorama supports us photographers in so many ways, including providing free educational content week in and week out. If you're not already a subscriber, just go ahead and click that button and make sure you hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when new shows come out from myself and all the other hosts here on Adorama TV. We all certainly do appreciate it. Now, another issue when shooting with glasses on is not being able to see the full frame in the viewfinder. If you can't get your eye really close to the eyepiece, it's easy to miss what's happening at the edges of your image. If you're using a camera where the eye cup comes off, some photographers just remove it entirely. This can help you see more of the frame, but be careful. Without the eye cup, there's a higher risk of scratching your glasses against that hard plastic part of the viewfinder. A better option actually exists in some cameras. In my Canon bodies, if you go to the VF format setting, you'll see a couple options in there. If you set it to display number 2, it actually shrinks the viewfinder image just a little bit. That gives you more breathing room around the edges so you can see the entire frame more easily, even without removing the eye cup. I'm not sure if any other camera brands have something like that, so let me know in the comments if yours does. Either way, you probably won't get a full seal around the eye cup to block out all the ambient light like you would without glasses. It's just harder to get that same immersive view when there's a gap, and you might see glare or reflections on your lenses, especially when you've got bright sun, stage lighting, or backlit situations. Larger or deeper eye cups can help. Hoodman makes some for Canon and Nikon, and I'll put a link to those down below. They won't block the light completely, but they can reduce distractions in brighter situations. Now, if you're the type who just finds it super uncomfortable to shoot with glasses on, maybe because of that extra pressure it puts on your nose, you can always shoot with the back screen of your camera instead of the viewfinder. That's really more practical in the studio or when you're on a tripod, but even if you just use it once in a while, it can alleviate some of that frustration if it's really an issue for you. My personal biggest challenge, it's simply being able to see clearly enough to focus through the viewfinder. You see, I wear progressive lenses, which means there are different zones in the same lens for far distance, middle distance, and reading. Instead of traditional bifocals or trifocals that have a line between the different distances, progressives have a smooth transition from one zone to another. The sides also don't have the same clarity that the center does. Now, this setup works pretty well in everyday life, but when I'm shooting, it gets a bit tricky. The image through the viewfinder only looks perfectly sharp when I'm looking through the exact right part of my glasses. When I'm taking pictures, I'm constantly shifting my head or adjusting my position, and that means sometimes I'm not looking through that sweet spot, and my image just doesn't appear to be in focus even when it is. It's the same thing if you're using bifocals or trifocals. Your target is more defined in that case, but you still have to make sure your eye is aligned with the right section of the lens every single time. Your only solution here really is just practice. Over time, you do get used to it and are going to start to develop some consistency. But in fast-paced situations, there's still going to be moments when your eye position is off. Contact lenses can be a good option since there's nothing between your eye and the viewfinder, and they do make it easier to see the whole frame. But if they only correct for distance, you might still need reading glasses to see your settings or the back screen on your camera. In that case, some people just keep a lightweight pair of readers handy, either in a pocket or on a neck strap. That's going to make it easy to put them on when you need to see something up close. Now, some people use Monovision contacts, where one eye is corrected for distance and the other for close-up. It can work, but it does take some getting used to and can affect your depth perception. I actually tried it, and it works pretty well, but I haven't done it consistently enough to get used to it just yet. I might still try that again. And what about laser eye surgery? Well, I've heard from several people who've had it done, and they love it. It really is best, though, if you're between 20 and 40 years old, because that's when your prescription is likely to have stabilized. After 40, you're probably going to need reading glasses, even if you've had the surgery. So if you're younger and your vision has been stable for a while, it might be worth considering. There are also now new technologies being developed. In addition to LASIK and PRK, which have been around for a while, there are varifocal lens implants that can correct distance and might prevent the need for reading glasses. Now, those have their own set of pros and cons, and I'm obviously not a doctor, in case you weren't sure of that. So if you're considering eye surgery, definitely talk with a professional. Personally, I never chose to have it done. When I was younger, LASIK was still kind of new, and even if there was only a tiny chance of complications, that's just a risk I wasn't willing to take. My eyes, they're my entire career. At the end of the day, all of this has made me really appreciate today's incredible autofocus systems, and I'm not even joking about that. I genuinely believe that modern autofocus has extended the careers of many photographers, including myself. In the manual focus days, I could see the difference between small focus shifts and could follow a wide receiver coming straight at me, running full speed. These days, I rely on Canon's autofocus system to do that faster and more accurately than I ever could. I fine-tune my camera settings and I use autofocus to my advantage as much as possible. So Don, I hope that answers your question, along with a whole bunch more that you didn't ask. What do you all think? Do you wear glasses or contacts? Did you get eye surgery? Have you tried Monovision? Maybe there are some other solutions that I didn't think of that you're using. Let me know down in the comments below. I actually did a video a while back about eliminating reflections when photographing people who are wearing glasses. It was during the pandemic, so I used some cool lighting simulation software to demonstrate those techniques on the computer. Go check that out. And send in your photo questions, remember, for the show by going to askdavidbergman.com. Thanks so much for watching. I certainly appreciate it, and I'll see you next time right here on Ask David Bergman.